Welcome, everybody. We'll just wait for the last few boys and parents to take a seat. So first of all, thank you for coming out, and I know some of you were here at 3 dropping off your boys for their advisor period and had to hang around, but we appreciate that. It's an important first step for them in coming to the senior school. It's their first day, really, and I think it's an important one to meet their advisor, so thank you for that. Today is mainly an information session about Camp Squia, so we will spend most of our time on that. But to begin, I'd like to invite Dr. Matthews to the podium to say welcome.
Thank you, Ms. LeBlanc. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My comments will be very brief indeed. If you are entirely new to St. George's, welcome. If you are coming up from the junior school, welcome as well. Really quick comment from me. As I begin my 6th year at St. George's, I have this incredible, it sounds a little bit cheesy, gentlemen, but I love this school, and I love the senior school. And the reason I love it is that the boys, almost all the time, want to be here. And they want to make us, the adults in their lives, proud of them. And from a headmaster's perspective, there's not much more you can expect from any student. So my hope for the boys coming into the senior school, our grade 8s, and their parents as well, is that you will love St. George's and the senior school as much as I. And over the course of your journey and your time here at the school, if I can be of any help, please don't hesitate to connect. And as I pointed out to the boys who are touring around this afternoon, I have what I call an open door policy. That doesn't literally mean my door is open all the time, but if my door is open, that's an open invitation for anybody to drop by. And if it's not open, you only have to connect to Ms. Kudrick or to me, and we'd be happy to schedule a time to chat. Once again, welcome, and thanks for your presence here this afternoon. I look forward to seeing you at the barbecue around 5. And it's now my pleasure to introduce the principal of senior school, the guy who actually runs the senior school, Mr. Gary Kern.
Good evening, everyone, and I get to extend a great big welcome on behalf of the senior school. Boys, I hope you had a good first hour with your advisory. I'm going to have a chance to talk with you tomorrow and then again on Friday at our assembly. Parents, one of the messages we'll be sharing with our boys throughout this week and next week is that there's 2 really big important things that we expect the boys to do. The first one, this is a week where we want you to connect. We want you to connect with your friends. We want you to connect with new friends. But boys, we actually want you to connect with your teachers as well. Make that effort to go up and talk with your teachers. Say hello, ask them about their summer. They're going to do the same for you. The second big thing that we're asking all of our boys, especially as they come up to the senior school, is that this is the time when you start to develop your good habits. Right? You've had a good long summer. As you come back to school in the senior school, it is all about your habits. And I think I shared with the parents back in June when we talked around habits of scholarship. The difference between those boys that graduate in grade 12 that are really, really proud and successful with what they've done, and those that might have wished they had done a little bit more, it isn't intelligence. It's the amount of work and the amount of habits that they've developed from the time they're in grade 8. So I really encourage you, parents, if you can help us out, it's around helping instill those habits with your boys, finding the time to set aside to do their homework, finding the time so that they can also have some fun. But try to build that discipline for them. Parents, if there's one other thing that I can ask you is that if you haven't had a child come to the senior school before, it is a different building than the junior school experience. One of the things that you'll find is that as your boys enter the school, it is your time to say goodbye and good luck. And we will take them and we will challenge them. We will connect them. We will have a great experience with them. But it is a little bit different for you because you're going to have to let your boys and encourage them to really grow up on their own. It's an exciting year at grade 8, and I welcome all of you to the senior school. I'm going to pass it over now to Jay Kennedy, who's going to give you the good information about Camp Squia. Thank you.
I'll just be a moment as I switch computers. afternoon, grade 8 students and parents. I'm here to provide a little bit of information going into our grade 8 camp at Camp Squia, which will be running September 16th through the 18th. And this camp is really kind of a progression. Any students coming up from the junior school, it's really part of our progression where we will be bringing in and try and foster some interaction with the boys as they come into the senior school, maybe making some new friends if they're new to the school, but maybe kind of putting them into different situations where they may interact with people that they might not ordinarily have as part of their social group. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped my page here. And so they'll also have a chance, because they're outdoors, we hope that this kind of fosters some time for them to have some reflective time as part of their intrapersonal skills. Some time to be away from the normal pressures on them, as you may have already seen this year, and just give them that time for repose. As well, it's a time for them to build some outdoor skills that will hold them in good stead for the remainder of their outdoor education experience at St. George's through grades 9 and grade 10. And it's time to bring in some academic components, then take them out of the classroom and put them into a different context so they can see how some of these things translate into other parts of real life. In terms of the progression, I'll outline a little bit for you. We start in the senior school. We go to a residential camp with a wilderness trip component. So I'll get into that a little bit more to describe that wilderness component. But essentially, the boys are living in residential cabins, and will have an opportunity to stay outdoors for an evening. As they move on into grade 9, they will take part in backcountry trips between 3 and 5 days. And there's a selection of different opportunities of activities, which will lead into the grade 10 program, wherein they'll even further develop their skills and leave for between 5 and 7 days in a whole variety of activities and locations across BC. That said, Camp Squia is pretty close to home. It's about 2.5 hours away, just north of Hope. And what we'll be looking at is we'll be departing on Wednesday the 16th. We'll be leaving on Wednesday the 16th. There we go. We'll meet out front of the school at the bright and crisp hour of 6:30 a.m. You're welcome. And we'll be boarding buses there in our advisor groups, which will take you up to Camp Squia. Once the boys arrive at Camp Squia, they'll be given an opportunity to move into their cabins, take all their gear to the right places, as well as given a snack. And then we'll begin our activity rotations for the day. As part of the activity rotations, half of the boys will take part in outdoor skills sessions, which will kind of prepare them for the wilderness experience. The other half of the boys will take part in camp-based recreational experiences, and I'll describe some of those later. And then the boys who have taken part in the outdoor skills sessions will leave on their hike and spend their night outdoors, whereas the boys who took part in the recreation sessions will spend their night in their cabin. On the Thursday, the rotations will happen all day. So the boys who stayed overnight will and had taken part in the recreational activities the day before will then move into the outdoor skills sessions and prepare for their hike and staying overnight that night outdoors. Whereas the boys who were on the hike the night before will come back into camp, they'll hike back into camp, they'll put their things away and join activity rotations in the recreational camp setting and stay overnight in their cabins that night. So each set of boys will have one night outdoors and one night in a cabin. And then on the Friday, the remaining hikers will join us back at the camp. There will be lots of cleanup time, and the boys will engage again in one more round of activities before having lunch at Camp Squia and then jumping on the bus and returning back at about 4 p.m. Back to school here. One of the first questions I'm always asked is, what are the accommodations like? How rustic is this? Well, the cabins are actually quite nice. I enjoy them. While they are dormitory cabins, so the boys will stay in bunk beds, between 8 and 10 boys in a cabin, and there is no washroom in the facility, no running water. However, there is a central washroom facility located within 50 meters at most. And here's a look at the interior. So, as you can see, there are no linens on these beds. Is a camp setting, and in order to prepare and economize on packing, we'll ask boys to please bring a sleeping bag and a pillow for their stay in the cabin, as well as their stay outdoors. For their night outdoors, we'll recommend a sleeping pad, either a blow-up kind of thermarest type or a foam pad, just for added comfort on the stay outside. For their other night, the boys will be staying in shelter that they construct. So they'll be staying in a large group underneath their tarp shelter, nice and cozy, and builds those interpersonal skills we were talking about before. In terms of the activities that are offered at Camp Squia, lots of some water activities in the form of kayaking and an optional swim, as well as the field games, as well as high and low ropes that are facilitated by Camp Squia staff. And the water-based activities are facilitated by at least 2 outdoor ed staff who are very familiar both with the program as well as well experienced in kayak construction and waterfront activities. The big focus here is on teamwork and building those interpersonal skills, those communication skills that will hold these boys in good stead throughout their experience in the senior school. And they'll also learn safe use of our camping equipment that, again, they'll use quite often in their grade 9 and grade 10 programs. And they'll learn, most importantly, how to set up their shelter for the night through tarp shelter building workshops and ropes and knots classes. And the hike is strenuous, but definitely achievable. And OE staff and advisors are there to support you the entire way. But at most, the hike is about 40 minutes from the base camp, and we do go out and check on the boys throughout their stay, just to make sure everything is doing well and everyone's getting along well. The facilities, Camp Squia is a well set up facility. They have an excellent gym, which we use for indoor games and activities, as well as an additional space for during inclement weather. They have a high ropes course and a low ropes course and a climbing wall, all of which are facilitated by Camp Squia staff because they know their facility the best, and so we let them operate these facilities. And while the boys are on the high ropes course, it is a 1-to-1 ratio. They have one person constantly supporting them throughout their time. The high ropes course, in particular, is one of the big activities that we push at this camp, mainly because it tends to take the boys out of their comfort zone. I know it takes me out of my comfort zone when I do it. But it helps them to work together, to foster support of one another, and as I said, the boys are wearing the appropriate safety gear and taking precautions throughout, as well as being well supervised, both on the ground with student leaders and advisors and teachers, as well as while they're on the high ropes course with the one-to-one supervision aforementioned. At the camp, all food is provided by Camp Squia. That said, in addition to that, St. George's will provide some snacks throughout the day, some healthy snacks. So in saying that, that means that you do not need to pack, as happened last year, a garbage bag filled with just inclement weather space. For travel, all the boys will travel on the school buses as well as charter buses driven by professional drivers. And the staffing while we're up there, Ms. LeBlanc and I will both be up there, as well as the boys' advisors, a number of outdoor ed instructors, and staff to support the high ropes course and the low ropes course at Camp Sequoia, as well as grade 12 volunteers who will act as counselors and group leaders to make sure the boys get to and from activities. Please ensure that you go to the parent portal and update your son's health information. That just allows us to provide up-to-date dietary information and health considerations, both to our OE staff and to Camp Sequoia, so they can provide adequate food. I believe all the grade 8 parents should be familiar with the portal. If not, there is a link to it on the St. George's website under My Resources or at this web address. So if you can please log in there and just make sure that the health information for your son is current, it goes a long way just to making sure we provide a quality experience. As well, I will be here after this presentation. If you have any if you want to raise any specific concerns, please feel free to touch base with me. As well, in the parent information package that you would have received, my email and my phone number are listed there. Please feel free to contact me if you think of something after this meeting. I'll be happy to address any concerns you might have. Now, the packing list. The packing list is also included in the parent information package, and we'll ask the boys to pack into their duffel bags and their backpacks things appropriate for camping, for sleeping overnight, and making sure that they have good hygiene in a wash kit with a toothbrush and toothpaste, and as well as clothes to sleep in, and changes of clothes appropriate for a variety of types of weather, and different layers so that they can easily kind of shed layers if need be if they get too hot, and add layers if they're getting a little bit cold. We do ask that the boys wear closed-toed shoes, as it just is advisable with the terrain around there. As well, we'll ask that the boys bring a go bag. And the go bag is just a day bag. Any book bag will really do. The main reason for this is it allows the boy to carry with him all the essentials that he's going to need for the day. Water, sun care, as well as different layers for any kind of weather we might encounter. So this allows the boy to fully participate without having to go back to his cabin in between activities, and it just keeps the schedule rolling neatly. Another consideration is no electronics other than cameras. I had a young man ask me if he could bring his altimeter. It's an electronic altimeter. While I think that's admirable, we're going to keep all electronics away from the camp. A number of boys will say, "Now my cell phone is also my camera." I see. We will be there taking numerous photos, copious numbers of photos. We would rather if cell phones stayed at home. I agree. Now the key items to bring are sleeping bag. Those of you coming up from grade 7 will have seen this photo many times. This is just an example of a sleeping bag that stuffs down well, is compact, and we recommend sleeping bags that go down to -7. The reason being, these sleeping bags are an investment and will be able to be used for the boys through grade 9, grade 10, and beyond. And so this prepares boys for any type of weather that they'll see on any given backcountry trip. Another piece of equipment the boys will need for this trip is a sleeping pad, again, just to make them more comfortable as they sleep outside. An inflatable mat is recommended, just because it's more compact. However, if you would rather look at another option. The foam pads are a good other option. They just tend not to be as compact and don't fit in the backpack quite as well. As well, a good backpack makes all the difference. We recommend between 65 and 75 liters, a comfortable hiking pack. I have seen in my short time here, boys bring roller luggage and a duffel bag. It is a 40-minute hike, which is a long time when you're trying to roll a suitcase over rocks and or balance a swinging duffel bag on your back. So please, I encourage you to look at adequate hiking packs. If you need recommendations, absolutely contact me. You can also probably contact other boys in the school and maybe see if you can borrow their hiking pack. Alternatively, the Outdoor Education Department will have some to lend out if you'd care to contact us. Okay. As well, rain gear is a big consideration for all of our outdoor ed programs, starting in grade 8, going right through grade 10. We recommend fully waterproof, and that meaning not anorak type or kind of K-way material, the taped seams, and just waterproof, breathable. It just it stops the boys from sweating quite so much, as they will be active throughout their time on the program. One thing that I will say is the athletics rainproof garments are probably rainproof when you are in a front country setting, but we would say look at some quality. Maybe Gore-Tex is a type of fabric. Look at jackets in that and pants in those kind of fabrics, in the waterproof, breathable fabrics, as those are things that will, one, be durable and last quite a long time, and two, just really make the experience much more comfortable and be fully waterproof. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. So we recognize that in taking the boys out of school and taking them to a different site to have these other and varied experiences, we expose them to risk such that they wouldn't see in their classrooms. However, by considering professional standards and adhering to those standards, by hiring experienced and qualified staff, and by considering the environmental challenges that exist at the site and programming around those, we feel that we mitigate those challenges quite well. And so if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to talk to me. As I mentioned, I'll be here after the meeting, and I'm happy to answer any questions about the program and how we make determinations for that. One thing that we will be asking you to do as part of our plan is to complete the Acknowledgement of Risk and Informed Consent form. Many of you will have gotten those today, a hard copy of that, and they're also available on the parent portal. So I'll just take you through the way we'd like you to fill these out if possible. So we'd like the student names and the student's name on the top. If possible, his student number as well. And then as we go through the form, we'll ask you, you'll notice that each of the activities in which the boys will be engaging throughout their time at Camp Squia is itemized at the bottom of the form. So we'll ask you to please initial your consent for each one of the activities. Should you not initial by each one of the activities, we take that as you not consenting to those activities, and we'll find an alternate program for your son while that activity is going on. So if, for instance, you prefer that your son not take part in wilderness swimming, meaning swimming after maybe the kayaking in the lake, at the nearby lake at Camp Squia, in that case, you would just leave that box blank. And we'll likely call you to just confirm that, and we'll make a note of that in our program notes, and outdoor ed staff will be in charge of making sure that your wishes are honored. As well, with these acknowledgement of risk and informed consent forms, there is a back page. And so we just ask that you look on the back, write your son's name as well as your name and your relationship as well, and please sign. So the two sides are very important to us. It's all part of our obligation to just inform you and make sure that and record that we have done so. So if you have any questions about this, again, please talk to me. But we'll ask you to please complete both sides of the form. So before I leave and hand it back off to Ms. LeBlanc, I just want to mention that we do have the Summit Club, which is a student-run organization that offers trips throughout the year. So if you boys, your interest is piqued by some of these activities, please feel free to ask any members of the Summit Club or myself, and we can help facilitate some trips throughout the year, and we'll be actively kind of announcing those at assemblies. So please feel free to join us for those, and we look forward to seeing you throughout the year and up at Camp Sequoia. So thanks very much, and we will see you on September 16th. Can I hand it back over to you?
Thank you, Jay. And I will attest to the lake swimming. The lake is so beautiful. It is definitely something you don't want to miss. The water is warm-ish and very, very picturesque. So thank you, Jay. That was very informative. I hope everyone had a lovely summer and found some time to create long-lasting memories with your family, especially as your boys are now heading into their high school years and will slowly but surely be detaching, and some days you'll be very happy that they are. One thing I love to do over the summer is read. It seems to be the only time that I'm able to pick up a novel and spend my time committed to the full book and the enjoyment of literature. Over the last 2 months, I read a lot. I read about 8 books, I think. But I was fortunate to have actually read 2 books that were exceptional and that moved me deeply. All the Light I Cannot See by Anthony Doerr is a beautiful narrative about a blind French girl and a German boy whose paths collide in occupied France as both try to survive the devastation of World War II. And Richard Flanagan's The Narrow Road to the Deep North. If you haven't read that, it's excellent. Which is a harrowing story of the Burma Death Railway and the Australian prisoners of war who were forced to build it. Both very heavy, I must admit. Both novels, though, touch human characteristics brought on by circumstances of hardship. Both novels focus on the human element of dehumanized existence. And both novels uncover the inner vulnerabilities of the character. This I speak to you boys now. I also spent the summer listening to the news, contemplating the politics versus the humanity of the Syrian crisis, refugee crisis, and the war. How does one photograph of a young boy washed up on the Turkish shores bring about such global contempt? It is our human emotional connections. It is our vulnerabilities. While the circumstances of all 3 stories happen during a time of war and of challenge, there is a bigger common thread here. They all expose human vulnerabilities, the human element. What does any of this have to do with you as St. George's grade 8 boys, the senior school, high school experience? Well, you're human, and we're all human. We talk about one boy at a time as our motto, but really what we're trying to say to you is that all and each one of you matters, that each one of you has vulnerabilities, and that these vulnerabilities are what make you human. This is what ties us together in this global landscape. That's why that image was so powerful. And this is what ties us together here today. Just like the French girl, the German boy, Dorigo Evans, and Aylan Kurdi. We are all humans, and while our circumstances are much less devastating than the characters represented in these stories, we are no less human than they are. And we are equally responsible for each other's care, both in this building and globally. And that's my message to all of you, parents and grade 8 boys alike, as you go through this year, I want you to tap into those vulnerabilities and know that they're there in everybody. And those are good things. You want to have those vulnerabilities. They're what make you real and human. And it's okay. And in doing that, though, you have to be trusting, and you have to trust that the people around you will care for you in the same way. So thank you. That sort of ends today's agenda. I have a few announcements that you may want to take note of. However, rugby practice starts this Thursday at 3:45 because we've lost the week of September. I think the first tournament's coming up quite shortly. Tomorrow, all boys, if you've tuned out, tune back in for this. You have an 8:30 a.m. start in your advisor class. You must bring your computer tomorrow. Everybody nod that you heard me, and nod no if you need me to. I'm going to repeat it. 8:30 advisor start. 8:30 parents, this is where you need to lend them tomorrow morning. Don't say, what did she say? Say, this is what she said. 8:30 advisor start tomorrow morning. Bring your computers. Put them in your bag tonight. Full uniform, and all classes will be in session. Your morning will look the same as everybody else's, but at 10 o'clock, we're going to have a grade meeting, and then you're actually going to do a bit of a special program. We're trialing a more of an orientation type day tomorrow for you. So you won't see your teachers tomorrow. You'll be learning how to use your computer and get onto Canvas and all that stuff just to get you settled and started for Thursday. So Thursday, you will begin classes. And finally, I guess, go outside and enjoy the barbecue. The rain has cleared for us, and I hear it's either partially sunny or a little bit cloudy, and the food is ready. Jay, do you have anything else to add? Okay, Jay is here to answer questions if you have any regarding Camp Squia. Thank you very much.